Supreme Court suspends proceedings in Imo governorship tussle. Nigerian Institute claims discovery of possible drug for treatment of coronavirus. On the international scene, it's Super Tuesday in America, a day when 14 states and 1 territory vote in presidential primaries, with a large pool of delegates at stake. And in sports, Lobby Stars Football Club team bus burnt in road accident, officials injured.
This is ANN News.
I am Lucy Adeyemi. The Supreme Court has suspended proceedings on the review of its judgment on Imo State governorship tussle. The suspension of proceedings came after the court had taken argument from parties on Emeka Ihedioha's application. Ihedioha is contesting the declaration of Hope Uzodinma as governor of Imo State after a Supreme Court decision removed him from office. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, announced the decision of the 7-judge panel to suspend the proceedings. He also said the court will return later to take its final decision on the matter. There is another call to the international community, traditional rulers and leaders of indigenous tribes in the country to unite in ridding Nigeria of the insecurity that is plaguing the citizens. The National Christian Elders Forum, NCEF, made the call and pleaded with 3 retired military generals whom the country considers outstanding and distinguished to save the country from what the forum calls the grip of Islamism and Boko Haram. At the end of a crucial meeting in Lagos over the weekend, the group asked former head of state, retired General Yakubu Gowon, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and retired General Theophilus Danjuma to spearhead the fight to save the country and restore its security. The group released a 13-point communique signed by its chairman, Elder Solomon Asimota San. In it, NCEF expressed grave concern at the insecurity and atmosphere of uncertainty in the country. The Christian elders thanked former Defense Minister General Danjuma for warning all Nigerians to take their destinies in their hands, General Obasanjo for drawing the attention of Nigerians to what it calls the Fulanization policy of the present administration, and General Gowon for lending his support to the restructuring of Nigeria. The group also said in its communique the Nigerian crisis had its root in foreign nations, so it called for the intervention of the international community in resolving it. Still on the issue of insecurity in the nation, another group of religious leaders from the Southeast and South-South has added its voice to calls that President Muhammadu Buhari should replace the service chiefs. The leaders condemned what they call the pampering of repentant Boko Haram terrorists and armed herdsmen in certain killings and rape across the country. This point were contained in a communique released after the group's colloquium in Umuahia and Abia State. The Christian group expressed concern over insurgency. Insecurity, banditry, and destruction of lives and property. The group expressed its support for the regional Amoteco security arrangement. Many know him as former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and will not in any way connect him with research and drug discoveries. But Maurice Uwu says his research organization, the Bioresources Institute of Nigeria, has discovered a potential treatment for the coronavirus disease. Uwu says he and his team had been working on solutions to the virus since 2015. Iwu and his team visited the Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, and that of Science and Technology, Ogbunaya Onu, in Abuja on Monday. Many are taking Iwu's claims with a grain of salt because of previous controversies. He had said in 2014 that bitter cola could cure Ebola. That claim was largely debunked by the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research and the Nigerian Medical Association. Affordable housing in Nigeria is one of the most pressing challenges the government faces. Renters most times are at the mercy of their landlords, who sometimes ask for 2 or 3 years rent upfront. Times may be changing as a startup real estate company has come up with an innovation: low rent, long lease options. Reporter Deji Badmont has the story.
Most times, what we do basically is we acquire a dilapidated structure, then we'll bring it down and develop a new one. So
He's one of the new faces in the real estate scene in Lagos, helping to address the challenge of affordable accommodation in a city where finding one is quite tough.
This place, it goes for 4 million naira and you own for 20 years.
Ibrahim Adetuga calls his real estate startup the 1 million landlord, and that's because of the strategy he's devised to help people get decent and affordable accommodation without having to break the bank.
This place, we list it at the rate of 3 million naira for 17 years.
1 million landlord essentially provides affordable apartment for a long lease. With just 1 million naira, which is around $2,750, one could become a homeowner for about 15 years or more.
We develop a strategy that, okay, let's partner with real estate developers. And these developers will just tell them that, okay, you know what, you need funds, right? Yes. Who will bring in investors? Who will bring in the funds and ensure that this project is completed even earlier than when you expected it or earlier than when you projected it. So, and they bought our idea and partnered with us.
Through his startup's partnership with real estate developers, Adetuga collects ₦1 million each from a number of clients seeking homes to rent. He then uses the funds to acquire an old house on a very long lease. He rebuilds or renovates the house, and when he's done, those who have contributed money then move in and live in the house for as long as the lease lasts.
And one amazing part of this scheme is that as the landlord of this apartment, you can always rent it out too, to earn income.
Many in the city are now signing up with his firm. This couple is one of the beneficiaries. After struggling to find the kind of accommodation they could afford, they ran into Adetuga and his startup and wasted no time in signing up.
It's a very good one for any, because by the time you check the rent you could have paid in that 15 years, you realize that the money you use in investing in this is small compared to how much you would have paid if you were paying rent for 15 years.
The real estate startup, which is just over a year now, has got more than 50 clients in Nigeria and the diaspora. Adetuga says he's on a mission to provide solutions to the increasing housing challenge in Lagos and to make sure housing is cheap and affordable, even in highbrow areas of the city. And beyond providing affordable housing, by acquiring old buildings and either rebuilding or renovating them, the 1 million landlord startup is also indirectly helping to give the city a facelift with modern structures.
So you can see this typical studio apartment.
To update you on the Supreme Court story, the Supreme Court has declined to restore Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party as the governor of Imo State. A 7-man panel of justices led by Chief Justice Tanko Muhammad reaffirmed its January judgment declaring APC's Hope Uzodinma as the validly elected governor of Imo State.
Coming up, African stories. Uganda tourism at stake as South African Airways exits Entebbe. And later international news. Super Tuesday presidential primaries voting underway in America.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to African stories. Senegal and Morocco have recorded their first coronavirus cases, raising to 6 the number of African countries to have confirmed cases of the virus. A French national who entered Senegal via an Air Senegal flight a week ago is the carrier of the disease. In Morocco's case, the patient is a Moroccan man who was living in Italy. He's said to be receiving treatment at a hospital in Casablanca. Now, the list of African countries is building, with Nigeria, Egypt, and Algeria already recording cases. Senegal and Morocco now boost the number to 6. Egypt's health ministry said in a statement its second patient is a foreigner who tested positive for the virus but had minor symptoms. He has been quarantined at a hospital in the north of the country. His nationality has not been revealed. Nearly 90,000 persons have contracted coronavirus in 59 countries. Just last Thursday, the United States warned Kenya to be on the watch for possible terrorist attacks against an unidentified major hotel in Nairobi County. Now, the U.S. has issued another alert warning civilian airliners and operators of U.S.-registered aircraft to, quote, exercise caution when flying over Kenyan airspace. The alert warns of possible attacks by extremists. Kenya has a direct air link with the U.S. where it gets a large number of its foreign tourists. Last year alone, the country received nearly 250,000 such visitors. The Federal Aviation Authority is asking American operators to report any unusual security-related incidents they may come across within the airspace. They are also asked to share their travel plans at least 72 hours before they begin flights to Kenya. The FAA says it will review the advisory by February next year. Kenyan authorities are not taking the alert lightly. The country has beefed up security in cities, towns, and at the country borders because of the warnings. South African Airways, which entered a form of bankruptcy protection in December, has begun scaling back some of its domestic and international routes. Some African, European, and Asian routes are affected, including Entebbe, Uganda, where tour operators are worried the business could suffer. Hilary Ayesiga has a story.
Making its last stopover, South African Airways ceases all flights to Entebbe International Airport. The airline had been running 2 flights a day from Johannesburg, bringing hundreds of passengers a week. Travel operators say without them, tourism and trade in Uganda is going to suffer.
If an airline pulls out of a destination, that means there are people who could have been interested in coming to the country, but would say no because travel becomes expensive. They either have to use other carriers that meander, or they have to decide on taking other destinations that are cheaper as regards flight connections or accessibility.
South African Airways is currently in business rescue on the brink of collapse, having not made a profit in almost a decade. South African Airways has been forced to end a number of international and domestic flights quickly due to what it described as an urgent need to conserve cash. But this decision could in fact present an opportunity for Uganda's own national airline, which was revived last year. It's thought it may now try and plug the gap left by South African Airways and start running flights between Entebbe and Johannesburg. However, experts say this could be a risky move.
We need to come up with a really, really good business plan to look at value for money. Are we making profits or not? Because the airline business is really a cutthroat business. You look at Kenya Airways, they're also making losses. All airlines are struggling. Should we be there? Should we go into other businesses?
In total, Entebbe International Airport receives over 1.9 million visitors every year. The hope is that as Uganda loses passengers from South African Airways flights, it gains others from elsewhere, and that the country's tourism industry isn't grounded as a result.
Welcome back. This is ANN News on the foreign scene. During the peak of the coronavirus outbreak in China, a number of public places in Wuhan were transformed into temporary hospitals to provide more beds for the overwhelming number of patients. But as the number of the new confirmed cases decreases, the city has suspended operations in one of such facilities. Liu Xingin reports.
After 3 weeks of intensive work, finally comes the moment to pack up. The Wuhan Stadium Hospital is one of 16 temporary hospitals built in Wuhan City to help treat coronavirus patients. It has become the first hospital to suspend operations as the number of newly confirmed COVID-19 cases remains low, and while more patients are cured and released.
We've noticed some positive trends. When we first set up temporary hospitals, a lot of confirmed patients were forced to stay at home as there was not enough beds in the hospitals. So these temporary ones have played a significant role during this period.
This is a major sign of relief because just about 2 weeks ago, the deputy mayor of Wuhan told the press that the city planned to build another 19 temporary hospitals with 30,000 beds. But the alert is still on.
We were asked to stand by. That's why we are suspending operations instead of closing the hospital. Now we'll rest and get ready to answer the call whenever needed.
Dr. Ma Ying is a member of the Shanxi medical team. She said it has been an intense month. When she was told the hospital operations were suspended, Ma Ying rushed to the gate to take a photo before leaving the facility. She said she was proud to help the people of Wuhan with her professional skills.
We've been here for more than 20 days. We transferred the last batch of 66 patients to Wuhan #1 hospital and accomplished our mission here. We are ready to be deployed to another hospital to offer more help.
More hope can be expected. The total number of newly confirmed patients these days is only about 1/10 of the peak. Director Peng told me as more patients are released and new cases are kept at a much lower level, more temporary hospitals are expected to suspend operations and close after accomplishing their missions.
14 states and 1 U.S. territory are hosting Super Tuesday primaries today, an exercise that would whistle down the field of Democratic presidential contenders. Democratic voters are expressing their preference to challenge Republican President Donald Trump in November. More than a third of delegates will be doled out in today's nominating contest, compared with less than 5% awarded from the 4 states that voted last month. A candidate needs 1,991 delegates to win the Democratic nomination at the party's national convention in July. California and Texas hold the biggest chunks of delegates in today's primaries. California is America's most popular state. The main candidates in today's primaries are former Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and billionaire New York former Mayor Mike Bloomberg. As the United Kingdom settles down to new Brexit realities, many firms are looking to expand their client base to fill the gap created when the country ended its European membership. Some companies are looking outside Europe. Juliet Mann reports.
From the kitchen counter to artisan on an industrial scale, this family-run confectionery firm makes 1 million meringues a day. They're stocked all over the UK, with a small customer base in Europe. But Brexit has them rethinking their expansion plans.
We will not be actively seeking European partners. We have growing to do. We've got a factory to fill. We've got overheads to cover with sales that come in. So we have to look where the easiest opportunities are for us right now. And that the easiest opportunity right now is not in Europe.
Clarity from the UK government on Brexit sticking points, from food labelling to tariffs and red tape, would keep them sweet.
This salted caramel meringue is a company bestseller, a big hit in Germany, the Netherlands and Northern Ireland, and now in the United States.
Okay, what other opportunities are there outside of Europe, which is where we started looking at China, we started looking at the US. We're looking to the Far East, so we're doing quite a lot in the Gulf, entry points, Kuwait, small market, but fantastic opportunities. Saudi, there's loads of landscape for us to grow in other parts of the world.
It's not just trade. In this Brexit transition phase, finding people with the right skill set is proving tricky.
So if you're a company and you're looking to expand business abroad, you need to help somebody to smooth the way when it comes to deal making. Those people that smooth the way are linguists.
In a business built on speaking more than one language, the UK seems less attractive for high-skilled employees.
The emotional response was they felt rejected and people were not coming in. This was very specifically something that we found with German native speakers, and Germans just simply stopped coming, actually. So the result was that those that did come were requiring and were demanding higher salaries. There was a scarcity as well. This was a problem. This is a problem for us. The only way to deal with this is to look at trading outside of the EU. So look at China, look at Japan, look at Korea. These are our next projects, basically.
Firms of all flavours feel it's crunch time for a trade deal with the EU to be wrapped up soon.
This showstopper meringue is made by hand, which makes it quite fragile, which is why it needs clever packaging. A little bit like the Brexit trade talks, handled with care.
If not, British exporters may find themselves dispatching to markets new.
Still ahead, sports. Lobby Stars Football Club team bus burns in road accident. Officials injured. Stay with us.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In sports, players and officials of Nigeria Professional Football League side, Lobby Stars, have so much for which to be thankful as they escaped death on Monday after a road accident. They were returning to Makurdi from Ilorin in Kwara State, where they hurtled past Kwara United by a lone goal in an NPFL Match Day 22 fixture at the weekend. Reports say the team were just 5 kilometers to Makurdi when the bus caught fire. Some players and officials sustained injuries while trying to escape through the windows. Minister of Sports Sunday Dare says there is no plan to postpone the 2020 Edo National Sport Festival because of coronavirus outbreak. Dare says the games will go on as scheduled. The sports minister has directed that an isolation center be set up to care for any potential case of the virus. The Edo 2020 National Sport Festival is scheduled to hold in Benin City in 3 weeks. That is the ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi. Have a pleasant evening.